Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, January 15, 2025. A powerful storm wreaked great havoc in Central West NSW, and more than 200,000 people are without power mostly across Sydney, Newcastle and Wollongong, after severe storms swept across the state. Lightning strikes played havoc with the electricity grid as a phalanx of 4 storms barreled towards the coast tonight, dumping heavy rain and spinning up damaging winds after producing hail further west. They caused significant damage, generating more than 1,200 state emergency service callouts across the state from midnight to 10 p.m., more than a third of them in Sydney.
Guys, going to be able to get back. We're not going to be able to get back. There's train strikes, there's cyclones. We're completely fucked in Canberra.
Central West was one of several to cop wind gusts in excess of 100 kilometers per hour, along with Scone, Tamworth, Dubbo and Sydney Airport. One gust topped 120 kilometers per hour in Williamtown. Several towns including Mandarama, Araluan and Perisher Valley copped about 30 millimeters of rain in half an hour. Another 4 people were injured when demountable camping huts flipped in strong winds at Bowman and Wagga Wagga about 2:35 p.m., according to the SES. More than 143,000 customers were without power across the Hunter, northern Sydney, broader Wollongong area, and more rural areas. About 8:30 p.m., the Bureau of Meteorology warned the severe storms in Sydney could bring flash flooding as they swept in through Parramatta, the airport, the CBD and eventually Bondi Beach. 3 of the 4 had pushed out to sea an hour later, but the greater Newcastle area was hammered until closer to 10 p.m. About 9 p.m., Osgood said 62,000 customers were without power and blamed roughly 90% of the outages on lightning. That number later jumped to 118,000. Extra emergency crews will continue working throughout the night to restore power as quickly as possible, it said. Endeavour Energy said the storms had passed its coverage area, and it had called in additional crews to restore 52,000 outages, but some would have to wait until morning.
Just before I filmed, it cracked just above me. Pow!
Central Energy, which is responsible for most of the state outside of Sydney and its surrounds, said wind, rain and hail started to provoke outages about 1:30 p.m. More than 29,000 were without power about 7 p.m., with Bathurst, Coonabarabran, Wagga Wagga, Orange and Cowra among the hardest hit. SEAS volunteers were kept busy with 1204 incidents reported across the state, including significant damage to roofs in the Hawkesbury region and at Aberdeen in the Hunter. The Sydney metro region was the hardest hit with 414 jobs, followed by Wagga Wagga with 187 and Orange with 70. Newcastle, Gosford, Sydney, Parramatta, Armidale and Tamworth were also on alert for large hail after 4-centimetre hailstones fell outside of Wellington near Dubbo. A broader warning was issued for people in the Hunter, Metropolitan and parts of the mid-north coast, Illawarra, Central Tablelands, Northwest Slopes and Plains and Northern Tablelands forecast districts. The Bureau earlier issued storm warnings for multiple states and territories and said very dangerous storms were rolling across the ACT, while large parts of NSW and Victoria were also bracing for a severe bout of storms. The NSW South Coast and areas further west of Sydney were off the hook by 8:30 p.m. There was also a severe thunderstorm warning with strong winds and heavy rain for people in parts of East Gippsland and Victoria, which was cancelled shortly after 6 p.m. The severe weather follows a few days of wild conditions in Queensland. Residents of Queensland's Southern Downs are assessing the damage after an icy summer storm smashed the region. Louise and John Baronio were among the Stanthorpe residents who were hit heavily by the hail yesterday. The roof of the couple's family home was hit so hard that tiles were smashed. It came down with tremendous force, Mr. Baronio said. It went into all the light fittings because the tiles broke. Water poured into the couple's home through the holes smashed in the roof. Residents in Applethorpe were also forced to assess the damage today after apple-sized hail fell on the region. The Bureau of Meteorology has warned other communities could be in the firing line, particularly areas south of Emerald today and over southeast Queensland, including around the Darling Downs and parts of South Burnett, could see storms this evening, Senior Meteorologist Phelim Hanafai said.